Hello and welcome to Cage It Cat, and today we're playing Tower Defenders on Roblox. Now, I've been wanting to make a video on this game for a while, but I just haven't gotten around to it. I seriously did try making a video before, but at the time, it was in its pre-alpha, and the game was super laggy, and it kind of wasn't, and it wasn't good enough. It's not like it wasn't good enough as a game. It was really good in the pre-alpha, but it was just kind of too laggy and stuff for me to be able to record and stuff. There was some problems I had with the game. Not like that have been fixed in the alpha. So what I mean is that was really laggy. So the game would look really cool, and when it gets fun at the end part, the quality will kind of go really far down and it'll be super laggy. Now because there's the auto setting for the graphic quality, like I have on now, it makes it much easier to record videos. And also the other problem is the games are super long. Now I'm much better at the game, and now that there's a skip wave function in the game, which a lot of tower defense games have at this point. The skip wave function anyways, because that exists. Skip wave exists now. I can speed through games much faster, so I can fit it into this video. And even then, this clip was 16 minutes long. I had to speed up a 1.10 speed to make it go faster. Fast enough to show the entire clip in 14 and a half minutes, because I can only have videos be just under 15 minutes. So yeah. And if you're wondering, I'm still using my iPhone mic because my mic adapter for my iPhone's dead, and I do all my recording and editing here on my iPad or iPhone, and my iPad sadly is full of memes. Too many in which the fact that the device does not work anymore. Oh, no, it doesn't. It's not like the iPad doesn't work, it's just out of storage. But yeah. This is a really interesting tower defense game, as I feel like it's much more mature for a mature audience, even more mature than Tower Battles. So if you look at different tower defense games in Roblox, they kind of have a different age audience. And even though I tend to play as many of them as I can, I just learned the one called All-Star Tower Defense, but that's anime based, and it's weird, and my dad watches a lot of anime, I don't, so I don't know what half the towers do. But yeah. So anyway. But that's besides the point. But yeah, there's a lot of different tower defense games in Roblox I don't even know about. That was new when that was brought up to me. I've never played Russian Tower Battles. I've heard of that one before. I played bootleg Tower Battles, not Russian Tower Battles, and there's a lot of different games my brother's played that I haven't even played, but there's some I have played he hasn't played. There's tons of small little tower defense games that most people don't hear about. There's a lot of big, medium-sized ones too, you just don't hear about as often. Cube Defense, I didn't even figure that one out for a while, but yeah. Sorry, I play a lot of different tower defense games in Roblox, but yeah. Let's talk about the oddities in this game. So actually, I mentioned this game when I did the Defense Tower Simulator video. It's not called DT Simulator, because they changed the name up again. That game keeps changing its name up, but yeah. I mentioned that some of the towers have a dead zone in that game. So, similar to how this game has towers with dead zones. Well, I don't think I have any towers with me that have dead zones on me right now, but the starting tower Archer has a dead zone. The towers kind of classified into 5 different groups. There's Barracks towers, which kind of go on the road and stuff. There's support. There's utility. Utility is things like economy towers, which the fun thing is, the farm is not the economy tower in this game. It's the gold mine. The farm actually increases how many towers you can have out. So, if you play Tower Battles, in some tower defense games like Cube Defense or some towers in Tower Battles, you limit to how many of those towers you can have out. But some Tower Battles can have as many of them as you out as you want, kind of like Commando in Tower Battles. But you can only have, say you're playing solo, you can only have 25 commandos out before you got your max limit of towers. And this game has the same thing where you can only have 10, depending on what game, 4 players is 10, I think, 4 players is 10 towers out or something per player. But here's the thing, and you can use a farm tower to actually increase how many towers you can have out. Does it kind of make sense? So basically you can get the farm tower, and you can place it down, and it will give you a few extra towers areas you can place, extra things you can place another tower down. And then you can actually upgrade it, and you can get 5 extra towers out of it, because this game has 4 different upgrades. You have the default. There's 4 levels of the upgrade system. It's the default, and then there's 3 upgrades. So this game is really weird. I'm so used to tower defense games having your 4, 5, or 6 upgrades. But 4 to 5 upgrades. Tower Battles has 4 upgrades. Tower defense game has 5. and these the game only has 3 upgrades. It's kind of a weird thing to mention, but yeah. Anyway, so this game is really interesting, actually. But yeah, this game also kind of tells when towers are good to be used, like early game, mid game, late game. Most towers are either early and mid game or mid and late game. Because the reason, this is actually really helpful, I think, for some newer players it could be helpful for, because if you have things like, say, the Architect Commando, I'll even explain why that, I can go in the story behind that, because even then it actually tells you why that exists. But it's for mid to late game because of how expensive it is. But yeah, it would be really good early game if it wasn't the fact that it's really expensive. So it's a good tower for mid and late game because you having the money then to get one. Now you may be wondering, what is the it's Arcane Tech Commando? Well, thinking about this one is it's literally magic. Basically, you take Commando from Tower Balance and put magic in it. That's what it literally is. Alright, so let me explain this. This game and Tower Battles are partnered on Discord. I'm in Tower Battles Discord server. I'm mainly in a lot of different Tower Defense games Discord servers, just mainly for updates. Besides Evolution of 8, that's the one I'm actually active in. But yeah. The Tower Battles is partnered with this game, Tower Defenders. So these are partnered. I think the creator of this game has Planet, the creator of Tower Battles, and so they kind of took the idea of the Commando Tower, but then they repurposed it to fit this game's theme, which is more of a medieval / Renaissance age towers, which is interesting. This is almost like the Eberron saying in Dungeons and Dragons. Yes, I do play Dungeons and Dragons, but I haven't done a video on it because I don't feel like people who watch my channel will watch that stuff. Even though I have actually said I was wanting to do videos on it in the last video of Season 4 on my channel. But yeah. Anyway. But yeah. So, what else to talk about? Yeah. So, this game is really interesting, because most of the towers are their own ideas, which is cool. And some towers have abilities which have, like, cooldown. Kind of like Tower Battles has towers that has abilities, except they automatically go off once their timer goes off. And they'll not go off it'll go off when somebody's in their range, and then their timer goes off. But yeah. So, it's kind of like Toy Defenders of, like, the Keith Tower, where its ability will just randomly fire if somebody's in range, and, like, and I think that ability is like 100 range, so it's absurd. And on top of it being super overpowered, and they still haven't nerfed that tower. Like, seriously, I was able to solo the Halloween event easy, like, for my last video, just with that one tower. Even though mine was max rank. But yeah. The weird thing is, I mentioned there's Barracks Tower, so they go on the road, and instead of, like, other tower defense games, they kind of only stay around their radius, and they're like guys and stuff. Like, there's Rockwell, and there's Chad, which is just a really buff Roblox noob, but it requires you to buy a really expensive game pass to get, because it's kind of meant for, like, I don't know how to explain it. It's kind of meant for, like, contributors, not for contributors, but it's meant for people who, like, want to, like, support the game, sort of. But anyway, there's a lot of different Barracks towers. There's a lot of some default ones, like a knight or something, too. We basically spawn some guy, and the guy, like, gets to go out and walks out, and instead of being, like, a patrol from Tower Battles, they just stay there, and they smack stuff. And it actually slows things down when you get into a combat fight with them. So that they can use for slowing. Problem is that they tend to be more for early game. Besides the Golem and I think Chad, those are the two that work late game. But yeah. Anyway, these towers kind of, like, slow stuff down. They're really interesting because these actually fight stuff, so enemies actually have damage on them, which determines how strong they are in combat. The bloated corpses can just one-shot any of them, so that's something to worry about. Oh yeah, this game also has a cool rush mechanic, where, like, enemies will spawn, like, halfway through the path and just run tons of them, but they're weaker enemies. It's really cool. Then you also have the support towers are kind of like just no generic support towers, like in tower defense games. They just buff your stats and stuff. I think utilities they said it's like farm and gold mine. Well, farm in this game increases your tower limit, and gold mine increases your cash every wave. Then you also have magic towers, which are like I actually have 2 magic towers in my team, one for early mid game and one for mid late game. But yeah, magic towers are more magic based, so they have to go through magic resistance. So some enemies will have magic resistance, making them weaker. There's also like a physical attack group. I forgot what it's called, but that's like the Archer Tower is in. Like the Arcane Tech Commando. Those things are in this group. The Great Cannon's another one in this group. But yeah, these towers are, like I said, kind of like, these towers are physical. Kind of use physical attacks like arrows and stuff. And there's also physical armor and you have to go for some enemies. So some enemies have more magical defense. Some will have more physical defense. Some will have a mixture between both. Some of the L enemies have some sort of way they can attack the, what's it called? The actual dudes that go on the road. The barracks and stuff. If you're wondering and by the way, the fun thing is, there is a tower similar to the barracks in this from the patrol and tower battles, but it's actually a magic-based tower, and it's not summoning the waves on the screen right now. But if you can get down in its point of view, also summoning waves from the base's end. So the only two places I recommend are putting it right at the enemy's spawn. Are right at the rush spawn. Those are the only 2 points of those towers are really useful because the rush spawn will just catch anything that goes for the rush, while the main ones will go for anything that just normally spawns in. Only 2 places I recommend placing this. Yeah. And this game is meant to be really difficult, but I've already beaten the hard difficulty in the game, which is the hardest one right now. And I also beat the game back in a long time ago, when I was in its pre-alpha state, so I kind of have some good stuff right now. Like I said, the game was just too laggy and it was too long for me to record back then. Like, there was actually times where I crashed in matches from the pre-alpha stage. And the game's been in alpha for a while now, so like at least like a half a year to a year, so it's been so I haven't played this in a while. The pros really hasn't that many updates, but like the rush is a new mechanic they added, which is really cool. Like halfway through the map, like a rush happened. Like there's an extra spawn point which makes stuff rush out, and so they're right halfway through, and it's weaker stuff, but there's tons of them. And this is actually a pretty cool idea. I have a feeling Tower Defense Simulator maybe will steal this idea because they steal tons of ideas. Like Pursuit, their Pursuit Tower was a complete copy of the helicopter from Evolution Invade. Over half the original towers are stolen from Tower Battles. The accelerator is clearly a copy of Phaser from Tower Battles. And there's a lot of other tower ideas that they've copied from other pre-existing games. Almost every tower in that game can be translated to something else from a different tower defense game. Maybe besides the paintball gunner. That's like the militants. Those are the only few. Actually, militants was the John. It used to be John. John was at least better than militant because all the John skins being militant skins. And the problem with that tower is the fact that now it's basically mercenary from Tower Battles. So basically, every tower has basically considered a copy from some other tower defense game in Tower Defense Simulator, which is why a lot of people don't like the game. But yeah. And I have a feeling that the rush mechanic from this game will get stolen by Tower Defense Simulator, and then they'll be like, oh yeah, we came up with this really cool new idea, and then giving no credit to Tower Defenders who came up with the idea, because the rushing mechanic is super cool, to be honest. Because you have halfway through halfway through the map, there's a rush spawn point, and so enemies will spawn from there, which is the cool part. Like, you can see it on screen right now. Yeah, the cool thing about rushes is it makes it so you don't pull all your towers in the front. You need some in the middle to defend against rushes. So it makes you spread your towers out a little bit more so you're more defended and stuff. It's a really cool idea. I mean, if I was making a tower defense game, that's a really cool idea. Forget having split 2 paths if you have 1 path where the enemy spawn from. Rushes, I think, are better, in my opinion. But yeah. And here's the final boss, Moloch. I'm going to defeat him really quickly. The final boss used to be called Hellock, and then they made this Moloch, and then Hellock isn't really in the game anymore, but he still references some of his spawns of Hellock still exist in the game. But yeah, I guess this is the end of the video. Remember to like and subscribe to Keisha Cat on YouTube, and I know I mentioned a lot of other tower defense games besides Tower Defenders, but, I just play a lot of different tower defense games and kind of like comparing them. Maybe it'll be interesting to see if they all combined it in one game. Maybe I'll make a video on that. I have like an idea of how different tower defense games can combine up with each other. Well, this is the end of the video. Remember to like and subscribe to Keisha Cat on YouTube, and peace.